Okay, it is 5:04 p.m. on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. We will call the Board of Works and Safety meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Guido.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Danny.
Here. In front of you are the minutes from our last meeting on July 9th. Dan, did you have any changes or corrections?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion seconded. Further discussion. All those in favor show the usual sign. Dan and I approve, and Lisa abstains. Next up is the curb cut request on Emancipation Court. Mr. Meter, come on up.
That moved a little fast.
Name and address, please.
William Meader, M-E-A-D-E-R, 910 West Ryan Road, Columbia City.
Thank you. And you are requesting a street cut permit, a curb cut,
Right.
right? And this is to remove the roll curb and to put, basically make it a flat curb
A
there
flatter.
for ingress, egress?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, one of the questions I had was that with rolling with how that's coming down the hill right there, if you flatten that out, is the water gonna be running up and across that property without that curb, rolling curb in there? I drove out there and looked at it, and I'm like, I suppose a substantial rain, maybe it could cause some erosion or something going down there. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at that. Is that a possibility?
I told him to have his contractor, if this gets
Right.
approved, contact us and we'll let them know how to put it back in.
Right.
They shouldn't put it flat, there should be like an inch,
lift.
inch and a half lift.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what the curb's all about, is to
Right.
channel water across and keep it out.
There's a similar curb cut right next to our lot.
Yeah, I thought I was looking at the pictures that you sent.
Right.
That would be on page 6,
Right.
or no, I'm sorry, page 10, I think, page 10.
That was
Of the
my-
pack.
That's what we kind of want to replicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lip. There is a
Yeah.
lip.
I wasn't sure how flat then.
Well, if you're going uphill to a driveway, it doesn't really matter that much. I
No.
mean, we still require
Right.
a lift there,
Yeah.
but.
And that'll hold the gravel
Something
back
around,
and everything.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
your driveway's sloping
Oh,
down,
no.
going to
No,
the
no, no, no.
building,
No,
that'll
could be.
be, Dan's right, it'll be a water issue.
Nope.
I've been in communication with the HOA president out there. In fact, I got a call yesterday. One of the questions he was concerned about, because this easement is quite large. I think it was in there before the subdivision was placed in there. And I dug a lot deeper, and I found where is wording in the deed of easement that easement is only for
827.
for that. So nobody else can ask for a curb cut in that area, because, you know, you could almost say, hey, the property to the north could ask for a curb cut across the common area
Right.
of that property, but according to this deed of easement, I found it basically states that that is for, just to say only, but it does state about for the property of 0.54 acres, which now they've combined it, so it's more than that. But back in the day, I found where it's only good for that particular property that Joe Allen McConnell.
Yes, yes,
had
yes.
put in
What,
prior. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, sir, my former mother-in-law, sir,
Yeah.
Oh,
McConnell.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So I did find that. It's also on the plat. I've got a copy of the plat that calls out the common area. It also calls out the ingress easement with a dotted line
Ah,
going through there.
okay.
Just like I have drawn here. So, now I think what I'm gonna do is when I get down here, after the council meeting, I'm gonna run back out to the HOA president, show him a copy of the easement, because his concern was that anybody could come in with approval of the Board of Works
Ah.
to allow them.
to do a cut,
To do a cut.
Gotcha.
That's not what this.
but that's not what the easement allows. Okay.
No, it's strictly ingress and egress for that
For
827.
that, yeah.
Now, his other concern was who maintains that 20-foot strip going back to, on that easement. And that's why I'm not the smartest fellow in the world when it comes to grantees and grantors and all that kind of legal stuff. And that's why I was gonna ask Marcia to make sure that the way I have it interpreted is that you would be responsible for that 20-foot strip to maintain, even though it goes across
Okay.
the common area.
That would be fine with me.
It states in here, the way I interpret it, that would be your responsibility, because the HOA maintains all that area, they
Right,
know it, they take
right.
care of it. But that drive, you going back there, the way I interpret that, it would be your responsibility to maintain, because it's not really fair for them to have to maintain
No.
something you're driving.
No, I'm more than happy to maintain it, and with that, allow me to occasionally put some gravel down to,
Right.
perfect. That's all I would do.
I mean, that's how I interpreted it, but
I don't have the whole thing. Does Grand Tour include,
the bottom paragraph, and it rolls over to the.
no, I see that.
It
Does
rolls
Grand Tour
over to the
include
back.
everybody
There's a
besides
slight, there's one
Delma?
other sentence that
Oh, rolls to the back that
rolls to the
can get
back.
printed.
Yeah. I forgot to copy that back.
To answer the city attorney's question, each deed consecutively deeds it.
Includes it with the.
Right.
Okay, good.
From-
Because it's interesting, the grantee includes all the personal representatives, heirs, successors, but the grantor portion does not.
No, it goes from Delauer to Smitco to Joellen McConnell to Meter.
Okay, well
Right.
then that answers my question. I just wanted to make sure.
That's
Before you-
all here.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So I don't know, from my vantage point, as long as it's built to the city specs,
No problem.
and I think I'm going to ask Kelly his ideas on it, and if he thinks that's not going to be a problem, or,
As far as the property lines, I don't have anything in that. If the contractor wants to talk to us about the curb, that's the only thing I really have in it.
I would
So-
I would have the contractor talk to you,
Yeah.
and if it looks like a problem, then we won't do it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Cool. I'll make a motion, we approve the curb cut request as presented at 837 North Emancipation Court.
second.
Motion seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor show by the usual sign. Dan and I approve.
I abstain because I'm on the HOA board.
And Lisa abstains.
Boy,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
a little interesting, isn't it?
Okay, so with that being said, obviously, yeah, have your contractor talk to Kelly just to make
All
sure
right.
everything's squared away there, but besides that, I don't, Rosie, do you need anything else?
No, I will, the board needs to sign this and then I'll get it back to you.
Okay, and then I will have my contractor contact Kelly.
Great.
All right.
Do you have his card or something? I think we do have business cards up there, I don't know if Kelly was up there.
He's all over the web.
Okay.
There it is.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up on the agenda is the permit fees for both mobile food truck and non-food truck vendors. This is something that we kind of started talking about a little bit last meeting, but there was some additional conversation, so we kind of put it off. And so it's back on the agenda. Council did approve the ordinance, so we're kind of good to go, if you will, for setting those permit fees, whatever we decide them to be. Rosie, I know you and Sally kind of worked on some proposals, so I'll kind of let you start off and then we can have a further conversation.
Okay, so, the first thing that was in there was where it was kind of scribbled all over was, I wanted you to see what it used to say. And so what we changed it to was that it was a vendor with a permit location in Columbia City, or a vendor included in a Board of Works approved event, and then all other, they could have a daily, a weekly, or a 6 months fee. I didn't really do anything for a year because the mobile food trucks normally are only here in the summer. They're not here in the winter, so I didn't. But these fees are totally up to the board's decision on what they want to charge. It was just something that Sally and I came up with. And then the other was the, I don't know what you want to do one at a time. The other was the non-food.
Yeah.
And of course, we had a little bit different schedule, fee schedule on that, but, so I don't know what your feelings are on that. I'm trying to remember why we charge different fees.
Mobile food versus
The
non-food.
non-food trucks could be there all year round. I mean, somebody could come in the winter because they may sell clothes, they may sell items, but the food normally is only here in the summer. But if you want them to match, you can have them match. I just need some names. or if you got any questions for me about it.
So I told Rosie ahead of time, I do wonder if there's value in lining up the mobile food and non-food permit fees. There's a part of me that says, well, the food vendors have to pay the food and beverage tax. Now granted, it's a pass-through to the customer, but still, it's still an additional fee that they're paying to the city that non-food vendors are not paying. You know, should we have the annual pass or should we not have the annual pass kind of a thing, or permit, excuse me? I think that's a conversation to be had. You know, 6 months, you know, thinking about this, obviously, you know, if they're getting their food truck permit in what, let's say April-ish, you know, maybe going into May, so that gets them to September. You know, again, they could always do an additional 6 months, or they could do a week, or, you know, a monthly or whatever, but, you know, again.
This is just for the ones who are not involved in an event, correct?
Right.
Correct. Well, all vendors have to get a permit. The question is whether or not they have to pay the fee that comes with the permit, right? So again, if they have a city location, no fee. If they're in an event, like First Friday, there's no fee. But if they are not at an event and they are not a Columbia City storefront, then there is a fee.
Like the donut.
Like the donut thing, like the House of Brisket, like the Big Eyed Fish, like, again, and I think a large part of that is that under, you know, previous law, previous ordinance, there was no provision in which we had to check their permits, make sure they had their health department stamp of approval and all those kind of things. So this is really just a way in which we can make sure, number one, that they are approved by the health department and that they have all their checks in line, if you will. But then on top of that, that it levels the playing ground a little bit with the storefronts that are paying paying for utilities and paying property taxes and things like this. So,
My first thought is I don't have a problem having a different pay
Schedule.
because usually the non-food trucks are not selling things as often.
mhm.
And what you see the lines of people up here at our First Fridays, where the clothing ones, people just shop.
Yeah,
You don't see them buying a
That's
whole
fair.
lot, so my first thought is, have a little bit lower fee for the non-vendors, if it's food truck or trucks anyway, I don't know. After being in I tried to sell some of the things I had too, but
yeah.
I didn't sell as many as I sell hot dogs and stuff.
Or tater tots.
Yeah, so I guess I don't have a real problem with somebody having a lower fee.
For non-food.
It's just, it's more of
Gotcha.
a maintenance thing.
Yeah. Well, that honestly, that is, I think, maybe more than anything else, that is a concern I have of, you know, the fact that we have two different permits that look very similar to one another that have different fee schedules, and so it's more of
I
a
guess that would be.
a housekeeping or
my
paperwork.
Paperwork.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Is a
Yeah,
valid.
that doesn't bother me.
doesn't bother you. And so at least I don't know, what are your thoughts, I guess, before I move on?
Well, so page 16 is what is currently the charges for the non-food, the 25?
The one that's marked all up.
No,
The
no,
one
no.
that's marked.
That's not for non-food. Are
The
those the
non-food.
permit fees, or we don't have, no, we don't have any permit fees
These are
for
just
non-food?
suggested.
Yes, yes. And that would be the same, the non-food vendors would be the same way as food vendors, where if they have a Columbia City storefront, it's zero, if they're in an event, it's zero, but if they're non-Columbia City, non-event, it's this
Yeah,
fee schedule,
I
right?
was wondering about maybe putting that on here.
To replicate the
Right.
food, yeah.
The
I'm fine with the way it's proposed. And I'm with Dan, I don't mind a lower fee for the non-food.
Does it make sense, so again, I guess one other thing that's different, the mobile food truck is daily, weekly, and for 6 months. whereas the non-food has daily, weekly, monthly, 6 months, and annual. So is that something where we want to just cut it down so that they replicate the daily, weekly, 6 months? Or
My opinion, yes.
Yes.
That's good.
to make it to the 3 categories, basically, the
Right.
daily, weekly, and 6 month?
Yeah, because I don't see, I mean, if they time it right, if they wait till, say, April or May,
Yeah.
when everything starts to go, and then they're good through October.
Yeah.
So that way they can do the Halloween thing.
I was gonna say, and then if they wanted to add another week or 2 on it, or if they wanted to add a couple of extra days, again, $25 for, well, not $25, $50 for the food vendors, you know, $50 for a day. I don't know if that will or won't break them, because I don't know their bottom line, but
So it'd be daily, weekly, and 6 months. Take that.
so that those two would reflect each other.
Okay.
Is that what you guys want?
I think it makes sense.
So, to recap then, the food truck permit would be daily, would be, again, this is for non-Columbia City storefront, non-event individuals. So they're gonna pull into Tractor Supply, they're gonna pull into Shrimper's Lodge, they're gonna pull into somewhere like that, right? That's not on public property. $50 for a day, $150 weekly for a week-long permit, and $300 for a 6-month permit. And then the non-food vendors would be $25 for a day, $75 for a week, and $300 for 6 months. Okay, Dan, motions?
I make a motion that we accept what Brian just said for the food trucks.
Okay, motion,
I'll second.
and motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor, show the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And we're done, please.
Are we really?
Yes,
I feel like we've been messing around with
thank you.
truck permits for quite some time now. Okay, so next on your agenda is the change order number 1 with Schenkel Construction. Kind of had some discussion before the Board of Works meeting. Because the Park Board was the official approver of the contract for Eagle Park, they actually approved this last night. I don't know that there's a reason for us to double dip approval, so especially because they're the holders of the contract. So we're gonna just negate that part of the agenda. There's no reason for us to approve it. Park Board already has.
Okay.
So do you have the signed copy? Or
He needs to get signatures. He needs to get
you have
signatures.
it, you'll get to
No, yeah, I'll have to get them.
Okay. Next up is pay request from Westler Engineering, Chip. That would be page
You know what? Thank you.
page 25 of your packet.
Okay, sorry, the little gallery over here is jumping, and I can't hear anything.
Okay.
So we're wrapping up, this is for the 100 South Sewer, and going through the contract and everything, we had some differences of who pays who, and we finally came to figure out that we were gonna pay it all and hopefully have the county, I'm gonna broach the County Redevelopment Commission about crediting us towards our end payment. So I'd like the Board of Works to approve invoice 44200 for $906.25 and invoice 44411 for $2,356.25.
As a reminder, this is the project on 100 South where the county is paying 100% of the cost. And then as new users of our utilities, our sewer utilities especially, come online there, they end up, those new users pay us, and then we start kind of paying a certain amount of, let's say, profit, even though we don't have profit, but you know what I'm saying, profit toward paying them back for 50% of the total cost. And I think that balloons in 20 years, officially speaking. So to Chip's point, the idea of kind of asking the county to credit us for this point. This is kind of no man's land, is that fair?
Yes.
Where we had said we'll pay for the actual engineering of it, and that they would pay for the totality of the construction piece, and that's the 50% we have to pay back on that. However, surveying is not really engineering or construction, it's kind of that gray area, so trying to get that figured out, so anyways. So I'll make a motion that we approve approve as Chip recommends, invoice number 44200 for $906.25, and invoice number 44411 in the amount of $2,356.25.
I'll second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign, it is unanimous. Bills.
All right, I make a motion to pay all accounts payable in the amount of $169,126.21 from the allowance of accounts payable vouchers dated 7/23/24 for checks.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign, it is unanimous.
I make a motion to pay all accounts payable in the amount of $1,241,109.66 from the allowance of accounts payable vouchers dated 7/23/24 for EFT payments.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign, it is unanimous.
I make a motion to pay all accounts payable except overtime in the amount of $311,389.53 plus overtime in the amount of $15,568.82 for a total of $326,958.35 for the pay file ending 7/12/24.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign, it is unanimous. Before we go to department head reports, we have, we have a request for leave of absence without pay. This is for one of our newer employees on a family medical issue. And the request is, there's a cancer issue there, and so the request is to take 48 hours of unpaid leave. And Chip, you are okay with this
Yes,
request?
yes.
Okay.
It was discussed when he was hired.
Oh, it was discussed, okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the request for 48 hours of unpaid leave.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. We don't say names and stuff, right? I didn't think so. All those in favor show the usual sign, it is unanimous, thank you. And then, next up is a conflict of interest disclosure. This is with one of our firefighters. He kind of has, we'll say, kind of a side business, if you will, that kind of repairs firefighter gear. And so as he acts as one of our, I think maybe he's the deputy quartermaster, but basically he acts as one of the quartermasters where they go through, make sure all the equipment is up to snuff, make sure all of the materials are not ripped, all those kind of things like that. Obviously, since he knows what he's doing, but it is conflict of interest, and so we have to publicly accept that if you choose to do so. So, any questions or comments about that? I'm sure it's not a very lucrative thing, but any dollar is lucrative. So I'll make a motion, we approve the uniform conflict of interest disclosure statement for Troy Neffelkamp as presented.
I'll second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Thank you. Department head reports. Chip.
Eagle Park's kind of been a start-stop thing, and so the swing has been delivered, so that's a big, huge hurdle, so we can get the mayor swing up and going here hopefully soon.
Call it the mayor's
And- Daniel swing, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Westgate is moving along, they're getting some of the driveway approaches poured, so we hopefully have something there. The shared kitchen, we had a meeting last week about that, and things are moving forward on that. We're waiting for Blue River Trail. The engineer is coming up with a timeline, a bid schedule that should be coming in within the next week or so. So hopefully we'll get moving on that here later this fall. So I have nothing else.
Sooner the better. Questions of Chip? Thank you. Sean?
Oh, we continue on Jefferson Street, Rolling Hills, Park Terrace Avenue, or Park Terrace Apartment, sorry, project. We do have some of the conduit board in, so that's a step in the right direction. TriStar was in this week, boring that, so people maybe see a boring machine in the backyard out there. That's what we're working on. The 2 new employees, one started a week ago. James from Texas is in town and already filled out his paperwork, and he starts on Monday, so excited to get him going as well. Doing some work this week. I had a conversation with the new owner of the former Warner Electric building, and I'm not sure if I'm to disclose the new owner or not, but new owner coming into that building.
Yep.
We're gonna, now that the building's empty, we're gonna de-energize, do a lot of upgrades, change the poles and things like that. Things we can do when they're not under full load. It's gonna make it a lot easier for us, so we're gonna get all that taken care of in the next couple of weeks. So get that prepared for our new customer, and hopefully that's a long relationship with them. Then I'll let you, if you want to disclose, I don't know if we're allowed to or not. Also, I don't know if I mentioned or not, but we haven't been by Speedway. We were able to remove those overhead lines. Just if you get a chance to drive around the construction to see that.
People are bypassing it right now, so.
Yes, whichever construction you want to do, because they
Yeah.
have Line Street shut down today.
Yeah, I have heard of that as well, yes.
So yeah, it looks really nice and clean through there compared to
Good.
what it was, so. Then last week, we had a mutual aid call for the city of Anderson. Originally they had almost 5,000 people out of power. They were able to get all the 1,600 back on within a day. At that point, they realized it was more than they could handle in-house, so once we had everything in town here last Tuesday, when we had the windstorm come through, we were able to send 2 guys down. They were very appreciative. They had a couple really difficult projects they saved just for us. I will say, I have one of the best linemen in the state working on my staff,
Yep.
so they were grateful to have his help, and they were able to get the 2 broken poles replaced and everything back up. So we had 12 total hours of mutual aid that will be reimbursed to
Gotcha.
us.
That include drive time?
That includes drag time, equipment, their benefits while they're gone.
Yep.
Everything is included, and they're happy to pay because
Yep.
that was much needed.
All hands on deck, yes.
Yes. So, other than that, got a few meetings coming up, but we'll talk about those when we get back and see how things go.
Great. No, did you abstain? Any questions of Sean? Thank you. Matt?
Swim team is getting ready to end. They have their last meet this week. It's a 3-day meet. It's called the City. They go into Fort Wayne for that. They have divers this year that they normally haven't had in the past. We're also getting ready for City Slam this weekend. That's the softball committee's fundraiser. They usually take on all of that. We just do the fields at night for them, and they take care of it during the day. So that way they can keep most of the money for the fundraiser. And also, we have Film and Float coming up on Saturday. Movie will start at 9:30. I think everybody comes in at 8 or 8:30.
Sounds right-ish.
Okay, so we'll be ready for that.
Cool.
And then we're ramping up for JFL. We had equipment pass out this last weekend, and we'll soon be getting going with that.
Gotcha.
That's it.
I'll have to make sure you get the movie screen since it's still in my office.
I was told to stop by, yes.
Okay. Questions of Matt? Thank you. GP?
All right, a couple updates on our new officers. Chuck Melton has been recommended by Public Safety Medical,
Okay.
and his paperwork has been sent down to the state, state PERF board. Austin is on track, still to be released on August 12th, and we have his appointment set up for August 13th, with Public Safety Medical, so trying to move right along there.
Yep.
We have 18 applications for the police officer position, and we are taking applications up till the testing date of August 3rd. We did receive 24 applications for dispatch position.
Okay,
So
for 2 positions,
for 2
right?
positions, yep.
Okay.
But we were down to like 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it wasn't a ton, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm impressed with 24, so, and 3 of them have some prior experience, so looking forward to that. They are gonna do,
Go ahead, sorry.
they're gonna do the testing this Saturday on the 27th.
On the police ones, remind me, is that one position or 2?
One.
One, okay.
Yep.
Keep it at 1, okay.
Yep. 4-H went well, had a few accidents down there, a few lockouts, but for the most part, it went pretty smooth. Didn't get any reports of people parking people's grasses and stuff like that. So,
Good.
You know, as muddy as it was.
Yeah.
It could have really tore up the neighborhood, so.
4-H has some ruts on their property.
Yeah, they do.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Received our Milo range equipment, so now we're just trying to get that scheduled for the install and training of it. They're gonna retrain us on it, because that's part of the whole ordeal, so.
Yeah, Gary, before you go on, will you explain what a Milo range is?
Yeah, it's like a firearm simulator. You go in and there's a big screen and there's weapons that are similar to ours that you go in and, you know, you have a guy over here that's controlling the computer, and as you're doing verbal commands and stuff like that, they can either make it comply, or if you're not given the proper commands and stuff like that, they can turn the situation worse, and then you gotta start trying to decide, shoot, not shoot, if you're gonna pull a taser, pepper spray, whatever. So there's lots of different scenarios. There's like, I wanna say there's like 700 and some scenarios on that. It's a pretty neat system, and I'd like to take council and board of works over there once we get it all ready and have you run through it.
Yep.
I've heard of those systems, and it's all been positive.
Yep.
Right. It's really a pretty
I've
neat
never
system.
seen it, but everybody I talked to about it, it's pretty intense.
Yep. Is there a dance-off feature?
Yeah.
I'd excel at that one, I think.
That's right. So we did receive 5 new Geissele rifles, and we've distributed them to the officers, getting a big upgrade to our equipment rifles, so that was a huge thing. We did get both our Explorers back. It's car 17 and car 20. We stripped them down, took the decals and stuff off, and gave one to the Parks Department and one to the Water Department for their use. They're really, actually, these guys can testify, they picked them up, they're really still really good shape vehicles. It was, you know, something that we can continue.
Did they buy them, or did you just give them?
Yeah.
Wow, that was very kind of you.
We ain't got no money.
Water has no money.
Water has no money.
Nope, they were donated to them, so.
Yeah.
And they even actually got an extra set of tires with them. I looked at trading our tires in that we had for them, but they're kind of an odd size, so we already had some in stock.
Yeah. Why not? That's nice. Questions, Gary? Thank you. Mike?
Well, the last 2 weeks have been rough down at our department. We've had 4 main breaks, and one of them, we had 2 of them the same day. One of them in the morning was draining the east tower. I think we finally got it where it was just holding. We was pumping 2,700 gallons a minute to try to just keep it up. So I think that we was probably losing 2,000 gallons a minute, if not a little bit more. Had M.E. Simpsons from Valparaiso come in, and they listened for it and found it right away when they went out east, which, you know, it was 2 baseball-sized holes in the 16-inch main going to SDI. And the clamp, we had to use 2 clamps, and they were, I think it was $1,300 a clamp. So it's quite expensive, and we are keeping 2 in stock just in case something else happens like that. In the same time, we had one down here on Dogwood, and so the guys did a good job getting them, you know, taking care of them. That kind of split crews. We were down 2 guys, one because one went to work for Licky, and then the other was on vacation, and we still got a guy on vacation yet. So hopefully we'll get back up to speed on that. But we're having problems with the filters, and it's a natural problem. I've been told by other guys that's in my position, when they change filters, sometimes the media just eats all the chlorine going in, and so you have a problem keeping up your residual. So last week and tonight, I got a crew, and in fact, I'm going down there with the guy, and we will turn the well off, or the pumps off and everything. We'll just pack the filters with chlorine and let them set, and then we'll open them up and put them back online. And then also, we've just started filling the north tower. It was cleaned and painted on the inside. So we had quite a few stuff going on all at once, especially with that leak, and then being down, you know, one tower didn't help anything. So it was one of them things where you say, what am I doing? You know, so hopefully everything starts turning. So.
Mike, do you have an idea of roughly, or any shot in the dark as to what kind of water loss that main break would have, I mean, has cost us? Do you have an idea? I mean, is it millions of gallons? Is it hundreds of thousands?
No, I think you were probably a million.
Million gallons of water?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you get in there in the morning and you see your tower down, it should be up around 22, at least 22.5, and it's down to 11. You sit there and start sweating, and we're looking all over. Even I called Cook and asked him if he's seen any water coming in any sewer, and he even had crews out driving around just seeing if they could find it.
Yeah.
And where it was, we could have looked all day. It was back in the field going across from Landmasters to SDI. So just one of the
That'll
things.
show on our water loss audit this year.
Yeah, it will show. And then we had one, you know, a couple years ago here on Van Buren Street.
Yeah.
It was the same way, but it was going into a storm drain.
It was pouring right into the storm drain.
So,
Yep.
you know, it didn't surface. If it don't surface, it's hard to find. But both times we called this W. Simpson, which they do find their leak detectors, and they found them for us, you know. It's funny how they can just stick a wire on a fire hydrant, and they can hear the water.
The water
loss.
Yep.
That's another reason, though. That's another reason why I like ductile iron. Plastic is harder to find
Yeah.
a leak than
Yep.
ductile iron.
GP,
Back to, did these guys give me anything for the cars? They are paying for the strip out, so.
Oh, gotcha.
They agreed
Okay.
to that.
Okay.
I didn't charge them anything per se, but I don't have to pay cops.
but they're paying the building cops here, okay.
Right, right. And also, on Mike's point, I did call Mike and offer the drone up to see if.
Yeah.
But they hadn't found.
We'd
it.
already found it by
Good.
then. I don't even, the way it was like covered. It might have been harder to find, but, you know, he probably could tell the difference between the heat and cold, you know, the cold water.
Oh, yeah.
There's quite a bit of
think
it,
about that, yeah, you're right.
so.
Questions of Mike? Thanks, Mike. Kelly?
Last week early, we had a storm come through and had a little bit of limbs down and things like that. So we went, our next pickup's like August 5th, but we went around Thursday and Friday, had crews out getting some of that debris picked up. So hopefully things are somewhat back to normal. And then we started going through the alleys, had some calls on limbs hitting cars and stuff because people aren't trimming behind their house evidently. And so that's a yearly thing that we go through usually this time of year and try to get things trimmed back and then go back out on the streets before school buses start back around and get limbs and branches trimmed
And then-
back for.
And then people get angry at you for trimming
Yeah,
stuff. even
it's
though
a
they-
no-win
Yeah, it's a no-win
deal there. But we do the best we can. We have 4 concrete jobs lined up that we're working on. One of them's for the water department out at Eagle Glen, and then we have a small job on Bluebird, and we got 2 50/50s that we have on a schedule to work on. And then Pavement Solutions is in town. I've talked to Gary and Chief Anderson, Officer Anderson, about. if
You're
they-
close, Deputy Chief.
Yeah.
You're close.
Get any calls, and we talked about it too. So they're currently doing some pavement work in town for us, crack sealing, pavement preservation. And they'll be in town for a week and a half or so, working on that. So if you see any no parking signs up that look like they're just like stakes drove in the grass behind the curb, saying no parking, that's what it's for. They should be in the area within a day or so, doing that work. And then, we had some new trucks, our 1-ton trucks. One of them are in at W.A. Jones. I think we're gonna take delivery of that this week. And then one of our 2-ton trucks was, well, our only 2-ton truck we had on order came in. Selking is gonna pick up Mike's old blue truck that they're taking as a trade, and he's getting our old truck 213. So it's good to see those coming in. And then we had a guy leave our department, go to REMC for more money. So I'm asking the board for permission to start the hiring process to replace him.
Good? Good? You're approved.
All right, cool, thanks. That's all I have.
Questions to Kelly? Thank you. Mike?
Yeah, on the same Friday that Mike had his 2 main breaks, I called him in the morning because my guys were trying to wash out the EQ basin, and they turned on our water pumps, and on the EQ basin there's 8 buckets, and then they individually fill. They witnessed the ground start to heave around the water line coming in, and shortly after that it blew straight up in the air. It excavated the hole out about 3 feet deep, so once they shut it down, they seen the water come back in, so that line blew apart.
Okay.
Obviously, we couldn't get it fixed that day because Mike was busy, but he was, following week on last Thursday, sent one of his guys out, done a phenomenal job. He done most of the work, himself. He asked multiple times, I even asked him, do you want me to trade? Do you want me to? Oh, I got it. And so it's all back online, worked great, we tested everything, flushed everything out.
Great.
On the same day, I got a call from SDI, and one of their release valves out there was leaking. So they managed to get it pumped down, shut it off, so we have that repair to do yet. They've already looked at it, and I think we have all the parts in stock, so we'll be able to replace that with a newer version of what's there.
Okay.
And all that obviously gets paid for at the end of by them under their maintenance contract, so you won't have any at the end of the year. Also on the same day, we took delivery of our new tractor that we ordered, and within an hour it was broken. The deck pins fell out of it, and just whoever assembled it nobody double checked it, so it fell apart, and so at that point I was ready to explode. So I had to get them on the phone, get them out here and repair it. So they came out and repaired it, put it all back together, and it's working fine. So
Good.
I was having one of those Fridays too, it's like, why? But we got everything taken care of, the tractor's done, EQ basin and we just hopefully schedule the ARB. I don't know if it'll be this week, but we'll get that done. CSO audit, which you're aware of, is August 14th. There's several questions on there that has to deal with, they sent me a 12-page pre-audit form.
Okay.
So, I started working on that today. There's a lot of stormwater questions on there, there's sewer questions on there that I can't answer. So during the audit, when those come up, probably have to call these 2 guys to get those answers to those questions. That's because I don't do that, the state doesn't realize that. They group it all together into one, and so that makes that difficult. So we've been through the audit before, and we've never had any issues, so we should be fine on that. And everything, I got notified today, for the last year and a half, we have done cyanide testing and tracking it, putting together all the data, finally submitted. We had to do it for 6 more months. We submitted that 6 months worth of data to IDEM, and I got notification today that with a letter to them with the mayor's signature and a $50 check, they will remove that from our modifier permit, remove the cyanide limit, and go back to quarterly testing with no limit.
That's great.
Like it should be.
Yep.
So it was a long, hard fight, but I'll say we won on that one.
That's
We
fantastic.
proved to them that we don't need it, so. Kudos to my 2 guys working in the lab for collecting samples, sending them out, doing some of the testing. Austin, same way, is collecting samples, back and forth, communicating with them and everything like that. So between all of us, it's, yeah,
It's awesome.
we got the goal that we wanted. So I'll be drafting that letter hopefully tomorrow, and then get your signature on it and a check, and so we'll get that modified, so.
Great.
Let's see, that's all I have.
Questions of Mike? Thank you. Marcia? Rosie? A couple things, just so you're aware, this Friday I'm hosting the Mayor's Roundtable, the Northern Indiana Mayor's Roundtable, at the Glen, at Eagle Glen. So we're excited to welcome lots of mayors from across the northern part, let's say northern half, the northern half of the northern part, half the northern part. So anyways, welcome them. I think we have, I don't know, 70 or 80 people signed up, not mayors all, but in total we'll have 70 or 80 people coming. So appreciate Ashley and her hard work of setting all that up. Tomorrow I get to do a ride along with some of our police officers for the morning, so hopefully they're all ready for, the mayor. Finishing up budget meetings, obviously this week, and there's a lot of good stuff happening. So besides that, I don't think I have anything else significantly. Dan?
I have nothing.
And Lisa? And we have no press? We have no audience? Well, I'm sorry, Jennifer, you are here. I apologize. And so we will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.